Hi guys, so this is the finished product. This is the bathroom that we done.
Love it.
I'm joking, look where we really are. Being cute. Not sure. We'll have a look. Just a standard one is fine. Okay, we're currently looking at appliances at the moment. So Lizelle, just show them why you picked these. So this is a gas hob, okay?
Gas hob, standard.
And we don't want to break the bank, so this one's on sort of a deal. And show them the other ones. There's an extractor here. I think that's PC World's make. I think Logic is their make.
You're gonna have to Google that one.
Yeah, okay, so that's an extractor, just a standard 60, and that's about £65. And then Lizelle selected this. This is £150. That's on a £20 discount. And this, I think, is PC World's branded Logic as well. We've used them before. They're not too bad. So the goal is not to spend too much money here. Is to kind of be money savvy, and that's how we kind of shop.
Time to head back to the house.
Moving on from our little shopping spree there. So it's actually really important to look at all the items that you're going to put in the house. For example, like bathtubs, sinks, kitchen appliances, things like that. So you know what size they are, and you can see what you might need the electrician to install if you're going to use a high-powered oven, for example. So it's very important to tie things in throughout the whole renovation, because you don't want to have issues right at the end that you realize that you've got to drill into a wall after you plastered and whatnot, and that's just going to make things go backwards on your project timeline. As you can see on the screen, I'm basically removing little pieces of lath off the stud work there. I'm going to use the existing stud work and build off it with a frame. I'm going to basically build a frame for the door as well, just where the hammer is, on the screen right now. That's pretty much where I'm going to start building off the new door. You'll see later on in the project anyway. To be honest, when you're doing a renovation on the house, if you give every job to a builder or a plumber, electrician, if you be mindful of the things that you can do. For example, as you can see, I'm doing all like some bits in between where I need to free up little areas for the plasterer to board straight onto that. These areas you can really save money because it's not skill stuff, and it will drop your project renovation costs by at least 20%. Sometimes even as high as 30% you can get reduced on the whole renovation total cost at the end. What I do, I normally ask my friends and family, and they come and help out. So my dad, my sister and whatnot, they help out quite a lot. My wife helps out when she's free. And if people want to get paid for their time, you can organize something between them. It's totally up to you. But this kind of incentivizes them to get things done. And one thing I've noticed, if you're going to get anyone that you friend or family, and you can tell them, look, if I'm paying you a certain hourly rate, but basically if you're going to go down the hourly rate option, keep in mind that people will take their time doing the job. But if you give a whole price for a particular job and break it down, then you can at least say that after this job is done and done properly, then you can pay them out that money for what you agreed initially. And they won't just take their time because they know they need to get their job done in order to get that agreed amount of money through to their bank account. Alright, so in this view, you can see that we clearly done all the steel work. Everything's welded in. There was actually a lot of work. There was a column added into this property. There was a steel beam above my head, the big fat one. And there was another one connected onto that. And on the other side, there's some works done there, which you can probably later see in the video. You'd want to get all these things out of the way. All these structural components, you want to get them in and fit it in as soon as possible at the beginning of the renovation. The last thing you want to do is anything like this kind of messy stuff. You don't want to do it anywhere in the middle of the renovation or anywhere, definitely not close to the end of the renovation. Now you might be agreeing that, oh, definitely don't want to do that, but sometimes if you forget something, you're basically forced to do things at the wrong times, and that really sets people back on a renovation. Now, I've been doing this for over 10 years now, and me and my partner have been working together for over 8 years now, actually, doing this type of work. We buy houses, we sell them, we buy them, we rent them out, we add money to the property, get the idea. And even then, after all that time, we're still learning a lot. There's a lot to learn. Every property may look the same on the outside, but believe me, when you're actually ripping out walls and everything, things can be different, and that could throw things off in a project. But if you have enough experience,
it makes things go a lot more efficiently. One big tip on doing a renovation like this, I would try, if you would, for example, if you're doing a wall lockdown, if you're knocking down a wall, or you're doing an extension, or you're doing a new roof, try and stick to the tradesmen that actually do that job day in and day out, because they'll know A to Z, all the problems, all the new type of methods of doing things, what works, what doesn't work. Because ideally, tradesmen don't want people to come back to them, and getting the right trade for the right job really matters. Sometimes you might get people that will say, oh, you can do roofs, or I can fit a window, or I can knock down a wall or do an extension. But just keep in mind, when people tend to do everything, really realistically, how good are they going to be at doing everything as opposed to just sticking to one or two trades? I do a lot of the work myself, and I've been doing it for many years. And I have done wiring, I've knocked down walls, I've done a bit of plumbing, and I do know that when you stretch yourself thin, it's harder to master something entirely. And another thing is, if you repetitively do something, you get better at doing it, and you become more efficient, and therefore that saves time, and there's less errors on a job. But if you do everything in one go, for example, you're doing wiring, you're doing plumbing at the same time in the house, you're knocking down the walls, all those things actually add to complication when you're doing a big project like this, for example. So it's always best to split jobs up and delegate them to people who specialize in that trade. Moving on to the other side, moving on to another clip now. As you can see, I've literally taken out all the pieces of lath. It's all taken off thing. Is the wood called lath, or is it a combination of the mortar that's mixed with it? Anyway, see the wood pieces are taken off over there. They're all taken out, and you've got to make sure you remove all the nails as well. Sometimes people will do things for other tradesmen and they don't do a proper job, and then the tradesman has to come along and fix out all those issues that you should have kind of dealt with. So if it's in this case, it would be the nails that are stuck to the studs. You want to make sure they were taken out, basically. You want to make sure they're all taken out. And your projects now, I always wear gloves. That's a big must, for obvious reasons, really. You want to be careful, obviously, of any live light switches. So I've got a light switch right here, that's an armored cable, or I've got a light switch right here that's in a metal casing. As you can see, it's like a little black cylinder type of case going up. It's just the way the old way they used to do things before in the past. Just remember that could be live, and that's another reason why it is beneficial to wear gloves. And in summary to what I'm doing in all these clips so far, the ones when I'm ripping out all the pieces of lath and whatnot, I'm generally getting the property ready for us to move on to the next stage, which is patching holes and building structures up in the house. You'll see that in the next clips anyway, where I'm going to get Lizelle, who's my wife, and she will be doing all the filling up the holes on the rooms, getting it ready for a final skim, and PVAing some areas that need.
Upcoming episode.
Let them look at it. That's face cream. Polyfiller.